Okay, grade 10, this is our very last lesson of our biology unit. Your tests, as you know, are next week, and I will be posting review sheets and tools for you after today's lesson and over the course of the weekend. I'll make some more stuff for you guys to have to study with. So we're doing cell differentiation and growth, which is our very last topic. So first things first, our big ideas. We have finished 3 big ideas, and of course our last lesson did finish our last big idea here. How are physiological systems created from a single-celled zygote? The end of today's lesson, you'll be able to answer this question. And remember, when you're studying for your test, these 4 big ideas are guaranteed to show up on your test. So make sure you review them and have really thorough notes on them. Okay, so here's a template for today. We have from zygote to organism with one drawing here. You can compare animals and plants here, cell differentiation with a drawing. I'll show you 2 drawings. And then an assignment. There's 4 questions for an assignment. You're going to start here. If you need more pages, you can always turn the page and continue. And this assignment will be a choice to either, you'll have to do it for sure, but you can choose which one I'm going to grade. Either the one from last class, a fight or flight response, or the one from this class. You get to pick. Okay, so this is your drawing. You need to draw both of these into your notes. Okay, so both the fertilization to a zygote and then the zygote to fertilized egg all the way through to a fetus. Don't worry about it being really beautiful, just kind of show the different stages, please. Okay, so when we started this unit, we were really talking about things on the whole organism level. I started out with the plan of starting with the bigger picture things, because in my experience, that's easier for students to understand, are the more larger, more tangible concepts in biology. I started the whole organism by talking about homeostasis. And then we got smaller as we went along. So we went through the hierarchy of life, from cell to tissue, back to organism again. We looked at 3 different body systems, the circulatory, respiratory, and digestive systems. We connected those to carbon atoms and how those are important in making organisms and for digestion and for all those kinds of things. And what we're going to finish off with is going to the very, very beginning, the smallest, actually bigger than carbon atoms, but the smallest of part of an organism we've looked at. So for the smallest living thing, which would be a zygote. Okay, and how can the zygote go from a zygote to an organism that can then do all of these things, can do homeostasis, can have these body systems, can do all those things? How is that going to work? Okay, so once we have an egg that is fertilized by a sperm, that cell is usually a haploid cell and a haploid cell. Remember from our genetics unit, it means 1 copy of the DNA and 1 copy. It becomes a zygote, which is 2 copies of the DNA. So we were all a zygote for a very short period of time at one point in our life. The process to which a single-celled zygote then becomes an embryo, the slow growing and getting bigger, more complicated of the zygote, this is very carefully controlled, and a whole field of biology called embryology studies this. So how a zygote goes to be an embryo, becomes a blastocyst, becomes a fetus, eventually becomes a baby, that's a very, very carefully controlled process. And the way that's controlled and the information you need to control that process is in the DNA. So in this zygote cell, we have 2 copies of the DNA, and those 2 copies contain everything that organism needs to do everything, to grow, to become a human. All the instructions are there in the DNA. And those instructions are read and followed in a very specific methodological way. So the progress of making an organism is a very step-by-step methodological process. So remember our first biology, and we talked about DNA and genetics and mitosis. If you don't remember any of that stuff, then take a look back at your notes. I've also linked a video in the lesson for today that you can look at. That'll help kind of connect those ideas for you from the Amoeba Sisters. So take a look at that as well. So when you have a single cell, such as a zygote, when you want it to copy itself from 1 cell to 2 cells, that process, a copy cell, is called mitosis. Remember, mitosis is a cell going from 2 copies of the DNA to making 2 daughter cells, both having 2 copies that are identical. So we're making more and more cells that are exactly the same through mitosis. And if you look here, the process, we go from 1 cell to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, which is doubling again, 32, all the way up to eventually becoming the blastocyst, which is about 100 cells in total. So we're making this small cluster of identical cells. At this point, we do have a few other kinds of cells there as well. Eventually, the different cells will not just be identical, they'll be performing certain functions. So at the blastocyst stage here, it's about 100 cells total. There's 2 types of specialized cells, and then there are also stem cells inside. And the stem cells are like all of these ones. They haven't become anything yet. They're just a general cell that can become anything because it has the DNA to become anything. And none of the DNA has been turned off yet. It's all there, and it's able to specialize into certain kinds of cells. So when cells specialize and they become a cell, a specific kind of cell, that is differentiation. So for example, a stem cell becoming a red blood cell. That's differentiation. Why do cells have to differentiate? Why can't they all just stay stem cells? Well, we talked quite a bit about all the different structures and functions of the 3 systems we discussed, the circulatory, respiratory, and digestive systems. The cells in those systems have specific structures that are unique based on their function. So think about the alveoli, for example, in the lungs. They're very thin and a huge surface area. That's a very different structure than the cells in your small intestine, which are designed to absorb material across, or the cells in an artery, which have the more muscular layer to help deal with high blood pressure. So all those different systems have different cells, which are made to have very different structures. And if we all had just one kind of cell, they wouldn't be able to do all these different functions that work together to make systems. So cells to make tissues, which then make systems, which make an organism. So we wouldn't exist if our cells didn't differentiate. So just take a minute now, and I want you in the bottom half of the first page of your template, compare and contrast these two. So we are looking at an animal differentiation process and a plant one. We're always comparing humans and animals and plants as well, other animals and then plants. So we have a sea star here as the final product, and here we have a mature plant. What's happening in differentiation? So compare and contrast. Make sure you do things that are the same and things that are different. Okay, it's really important that you do things that are the same and things that are different every time you hear the word compare and contrast, or that phrase, that word. Okay, so on to the next part is about cell differentiation. So when a stem cell specializes and differentiates, becomes a certain kind of cell, it does so based on the DNA. Now remember, every single cell has all of the DNA for the entire organism, for every single type of cell exists. But we don't want to copy all of that DNA. That's very wasteful, right? We only want to copy the cut stuff we need. So what happens is we have transcription factors that are going to turn on specific genes and turn off other genes, so that way a stem cell can turn into a certain kind of cell. So if you look here, a single cell stem cell could become, we have mitosis to make 2 identical cells, but at this stage, transcription factors are going to control which genes are turned on. So here, the genes for neuron cells, and all the ones for neurons are going to turn on, and we get a neuron, a cell for part of your brain and nervous system. In this one, we have an epithelial cell gene that can be turned on, the others are going to be turned off, and we get an epithelial cell, maybe in the small intestine or the skin. So if you remember in our last biology unit talking about DNA and genetics, we talked about transcription factors. We did an online lab about them, a simulation, and I will show you kind of a reminder of that in a second. So those are 2 types of specialized cells, neurons and epithelial cells. How many other ones can you name from our unit? Which ones do you remember, or do you just know from knowledge of life? Well, here's a good sampling of them. Stem cells can become muscle cells, blood cells, nerve cells, cardiac muscle cells, liver cells, intestinal cells, alveoli, lung tissue, trachea cells, stomach cells. All of these different kinds are possible. So don't copy this stuff down. I just took a few slides from our last biology unit to remind you the connection here, because these are very much connected on this particular lesson. So remember we talked about transcription, where we're taking one gene in the DNA and we're transcribing it into an RNA, and then preparing that RNA to then leave the cell, to leave the nucleus of the cell, leave the nucleus, where it will be translated at a ribosome into a protein. This is the peptide chain to make into a protein. So those proteins are what you need to then make a whole new cell. So when we're going through differentiation, we're turning on the genes that we need to make the proteins we need to make that kind of cell. So a reminder, again, don't copy this down, you already have this in your notes, just a reminder what we already have. So transcription factors are the proteins which are going to encourage or discourage transcription, taking that gene and transcribing it into an RNA, an mRNA, so it can then be translated into a protein. So they're going to bind at specific sites. There's a sequence in the DNA they bind to. Here's an activator, here's a repressor, and they only regulate the genes that come after their sequence. Okay, so negative transcription factors like this one, they make it really hard for RNA polymerase to bind, so it can't transcribe that DNA after, whereas an activator or a positive transcription factor, a positive one, is going to encourage RNA polymerase to come along and then translate that. So if, for example, if I have a cell, a stem cell that's going to become a neuron, I will put an activator by all the genes that are necessary to make a neuron. And I'll put a repressor on all the genes that are not necessary. I only want to transcribe and then translate the genes I need to turn that stem cell into a neuron or into any other kind of cell the body happens to need. So a reminder again, just you don't have to copy this down. You already have this in your notes in the first biology unit. So here's my activator, and here's RNA polymerase and the whole assembly. I'm going to go then transcribe that target gene. Maybe it's a gene necessary for making the myelin sheath of a neuron or making the axon of a neuron long, something like this. Whereas a repressor is going to bind a different sequence and then block it. So the factors can't bind and there's no transcription of that gene. So things that are necessary maybe for an epithelial cell, stomach lining cell. If I'm making a neuron, I don't want that DNA transcribed, so I block it. Okay, so you need to write this information down. So the expression of the different genes, so you've already drawn this diagram here, is going to allow those stem cells to make every type of cell an organism needs. So a variety of different types of cells that organisms need. Once you have all those cell types, once we're a fetus or an early embryo and we have all the cell types, how does an organism get bigger? How does it actually grow? Well, it's going to go back to mitosis. Mitosis can make more copies of those cells. So once I have an epithelial cell, I need to make more epithelial cells. Maybe it's a fetus and it has a stomach, but it's very small. We make a bigger stomach. The epithelial cells will go through mitosis, make more of them to make the stomach bigger, bit by bit. But once one of these cells becomes specialized like this, they can't go back. They can't switch types, so a neuron can't become an epithelial cell. It already is. But most organisms, including humans, we still have some stem cells in our bodies, and those stem cells can then create other cell types if necessary. So, for example, we have stem cells in our bone marrow that can use to make all kinds of blood cells. So we lose blood cells quite often when we're bleeding. It happens very often in females. And we have to replace those blood cells. So we have to have constant stem cells in our bone marrow to make more stem cells for blood cells. Okay, so don't copy this down, just an example of here we have a stem cell, and it can differentiate into two different kinds of cells, which then further differentiate themselves again and again and again. So there's multiple layers of differentiation here. And this whole process is actually much more complex than we're talking about in this course, which I'd like you guys to be aware that I'm not telling you the whole picture, but it's the idea that we have these stem cells that can become anything. Okay, so a reminder, your number 4 big idea here, you can fill that out now. I need to upload the image of that as well to your notes today. And your assignment, so you did an assignment last class about the fight or flight response. This class you're doing one about organ transplants. And you're going to create and analyze claims and evidence about organ transplants based on this information about cell differentiation. Look at the diagrams that are given to you and answer the 4 questions in your notebook. And you pick which one. I'm going to grade one of these 2 assignments. You have to do both of them, but I'm going to grade one of them for summative. You can choose the fight or flight or this one. You choose and let me know on Schoology. We also are net at our unit, so think back to our phenomenon here about the alligators breathing through the ice in the wintertime. Okay, just give them some space. And you should go now to your phenomenon page in your notebook or your online template and fill out these 2 parts. What did you learn about in these 12 lessons of this unit, and what do you now think is the answer to this question? How does structure support function in body systems? So you need to fill these 2 out and also upload that to today's lesson page. Okay, so there's a lot of little bits to do for today's lesson. You have to do your big idea, your last big idea. You have to do the completed phenomenon page and upload both of those to Schoology. You also need to include the notes from today and the organ transplant of the future assignment, those 4 questions. You also need to remember to indicate which of the 2 assignments you want me to grade. Do you want me to grade fight or flight response or organ transplant of the future? It's your choice. So just take a quick look at that organ transplants of the future assignment. So here it is, and I'll post this on Schoology Post, of course. It's a bit of information about how the stem cells for kidneys work. It's about a kidney transplant. And then you can have 2 claims. You pick which one you think you agree with and give evidence why you agree with it. Okay, and then you have a diagram here. Say what component system model does the light represent. You're analyzing a model here about differentiation. And then here you're making a claim based on these kinds of evidence. Okay, that's your assignment for today. And please do it in your notebook and upload all the things. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me. And this is it. End of the unit, guys. On to chemistry next. Take care.